So the widower has a precocious young daughter. It's always a daughter, it can never be a son. It's always a widower, it can never be a divorcee, it can never be a single guy. It's got to be the widower with a young precocious daughter, who tragically her mother passed away. And also, the heroine, her mother, tragically passed away. And so she and the precocious daughter, her future stepdaughter, can bond over that and almost literally nothing else. And so that as soon as they realized, oh, he of course, it's the same thing. I started to wish for amnesia. I started to wish that something heavy would land on AJ Lee's sister's head and she would forget who she was for 40 minutes, because that would have spiced things up a bit.
That was my favorite. I got several DMs from Alex while he was watching this, and my favorite was when he was just rooting for amnesia. Is just a fun message that most people in the world probably don't get, but I got to get it.
Yeah.
I will say, dead parent, widow, that is on your bingo card for these things.
Yeah.
That absolutely has to happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Kate, in full disclosure, while watching this movie, my internet crapped out. Just went, it committed suicide. It says, if you are going to use me for the purpose of watching this, then I can no longer go on living. And it just went kaplooey. I did not come back until, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. And I did not spend that time watching the rest of this movie. So we're going to get to a point where I'm going to be no good at talking about this for the rest of the time. But then you get to explain the rest of it, and you can also tell me things that may or may not have happened, and I'll just believe you. I'll just believe whatever you say, because
I was gonna say we should force you to auto-complete it, and then I'll tell you if it's predictable enough that you're just correct
good.
in the process.
Sounds good. Let's do that too. AJ Lee's sister, and it feels. I don't want to trivialize her, but that is exactly how you described her to me. Amy Garcia plays the lead of this. She is a. Now, listen, I don't know how else to describe it, because that seems to be what they're telling me. She is an aging pop star. How old is she supposed to be?
I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but it feels very much like they made her out to be like if J-Lo was losing steam. Like, there's all these up and coming pop stars that are like trying to replace her. I don't know if they actually explicitly say like how old she's supposed to be, but she's age appropriate enough for someone with an 8-year-old daughter. So,
well, 15-year-old daughter.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, she's 15. That's right.
Yeah, she's gonna be 15. She's 14 and a half. 14 and 3/4. But it's a big deal that she's getting too old for this. And she seems like she's in very good shape, and she doesn't seem that old or what. Like, I mean, like, if you ask me to like say how old are they telling you that she is? 40? How old does she seem?
Probably 40, yeah.
34? Like,
yeah.
And that might be too old. I don't like it. How old is Taylor Swift now? Like is it? I mean, like, is it kind of like how old are you allowed to be before? Getting a little long in the tooth there. Like there's a woman who interviews her for some terrible magazine. It's like, I remember I grew up on you when I was a baby. And that woman is obviously in her early 20s. So I'm like, how? And then she says at one point, when I was 15, I didn't have a quinceañera because I was touring with J-Lo. So you've been doing this for 20-ish years as a pop star?
They do say decades. So
I guess.
She's had decades of hits.
But there's her album label has a new signee who's young. And she hates her because she's young. It does not appear, at least in the scenes that I watched, that there was any reason for her to despise this new young person, except for the fact that she is stealing her youth. And I was like, I find it hard to root for you if you hate the new girl simply because she's young.
I feel like it was that she hated that she was taking her spot and that it was getting very competitive.
Well, then hate that she does, to her credit. Hate the people who are making that decision. But they actually meet at one point in the film, and that young artist could not be more respectful. You know what I mean? She's like, "Hello, so good to meet you." Like, and she says, "I grew up listening to your stuff," which is true. It was like, "Oh, I was 30 when I first bought your album." Like, you're supposed to lie about how much older you are than the person you're talking to? It's a nice compliment. "I grew up listening to your stuff" is a wonderful compliment for somebody who now has a hit single. Obviously, they were influenced by your work. And she is just cheating. "We're leaving because this young woman paid me a compliment." It was just.
See, your internet cut out before the face turn, clearly, because we do get her defense that comes later. But you're right. We do open with an interview that is like, well, we open with her like sexy Hispanic pop star montage, and then the interview was like about something about interview etiquette that this interviewer might want to learn. You don't ask 2 questions and be super mean to the person you're interviewing.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "Do you find it hard to stay relevant? Because we saw your TikTok and it seems like you're aging." Was like a very odd thing to say, especially woman to woman.
Yeah.
To be like,
TikTok was
"You're getting
cringe.
old."
Any comment on your super cringe TikTok?
But I will say this like moves to a lot of this is centered around Hispanic culture, and they use Hispanic people. So that is nice. This was at least authentically produced and represented by people who are actually Hispanic. So it's authentic in that way. But we do learn very early. This is where I was nice to you. We learn very early the plot of the movie. We basically dive right into it, which is refreshing if you're someone that has seen multiple ones of these. They basically get to Big Money Barry, I think. $1 Billion Barry is going to cut Amy Garcia from the label if they don't produce a Christmas hit that she's going to debut at this gala. And that all gets revealed probably within the first 10-15 minutes, which is like actually kind of nice. It does, however, make for a very anticlimactic middle of the movie. So
you noticed that too, huh? You noticed that too?
I sure did.
RESPECT. Click the subscribe button and find out what it means to me. Nah, that doesn't have a ring to it. But if you like videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, subscribe now.